briefly explain what is time division multiplexing. So today we'll discuss in detail and two different types of it, and which is the efficient one we'll discuss, and some problems we'll solve this with respect to time division multiplexing. Okay. So here time division multiplexing, I think has of now everybody understood how the channel here there is no channel concept. So how the link is shared among set of devices. Okay, so you can just see this is a link through which the devices can send the data different devices. So in that whatever the link we have assumed here, so this is high bandwidth link. So in the FTMA, what we used to do FTMA, so the link is divided into number of channels. The link is divided into number of channel, and each channel carries the signal from each of the device. But here we are not going to divide the channel. I mean, we are not going to divide the link into number of channel. Okay, so if this is the case in case of FDMA, whatever we have discussed, okay, the capacity of the link is shared between devices. Okay, so this capacity of the some part of the capacity of the link is shared by device 1, then 2, 3. So all these three signals will be able to send at the same time. Okay, but full capacity of the link is not given to any of the device because it is divided into number of channels. But this is not the case in case of TDMA. Okay, the full capacity of the channel will be given to each of the device, but with a restriction of time slot. Okay, so device 1 can send data. So this the duration whatever it is given for time slot, that is from year to year. Okay, it can send the data within this time interval. After that it will interrupt. Okay, that's why yesterday I asked in operating system, have you learned about the CPU scheduling? Okay, or else do you know about the context switch? What is the meaning of context switch? Context switch in OS operating system. Okay, it's okay. So if you don't know context switch, no need to worry. So in CPU scheduling you will learn this. You can just compare with that. So how exactly the TDMA works. So here consider this is um, the CPU time. Okay, so this is I'm just relating to that. So if this is a CPU time, and if there are four processes are waiting to in the queue, okay, it is waiting for the CPU. So here which process should be allowed to make use of the CPU? Okay, so which process is allocated to the CPU? Okay, so your conflict arises. So among these four, which one should be allowed to use the CPU? So for that, they have introduced that scheduling mechanism. So there it uses different techniques, either based on first come which process arrived first, that will be allowed, or whichever the process that is having only smaller or shorter duration of CPU is required, that will be executed first, or it may be priority based. And there is one more method called round robin. Okay, so see, if you are going for first come first serve, so most of the time if the first process take lot of CPU time, then other process has to wait for longer period of time. Okay, so there are a lot of issues with respect to the other methods. So for that they have introduced one more method called round robin. So in this it is going to equally allocate the CPU time for each of the process. Okay, so that no scarcity is faced by the each of the process. So that means how exactly it is done. So if this is the so if this is a CPU duration, okay, so first second, okay, it will allow P1 to execute. Next 1 second, okay, after 1 second maybe it requires 10 seconds of CPU time, but it will execute only for 1 second, or you can fix it for 2 seconds. That we call it as quantum time. You will be learning that. So here I'll let it be for 1 second. After that, immediately it has to interrupt the execution of process P1. Okay, and it will switch to P2. Give 1 second for P2, then followed by P3, then followed by P4. Okay. So after that, once again, if any of these process still requires CPU, it will repeat P1. Okay, for 1 second, interrupt P2, interrupt P3. Okay, like this particular time interval is completely given to this process. Okay, CPU time is given to this process. Okay, so this concept is used here, TDMA. So this the time interval T, that complete time interval T, the device one is allowed to send the data. Full capacity of the link can be utilized by this device. Then it requires to give equal interval of time for all the other devices. Otherwise, what happens? So these devices will be keep on waiting. Okay, so that should not happen in case of TDMA. And next time interval T, second device is allowed. Then next T time interval, third and fourth. Okay, so this process repeats for all the devices to send its data. Okay, it multiplexes that whatever the signal that comes from each of the device. Okay, don't get confused with once again with your operating system. It is just an example like how time sharing is done. I have given example. Okay, whatever the signal that comes, okay, from device 1 2 3 4, it will multiplexes that input signal and it will be sent through the link. Okay, so and this link is having high capacity, and once it reaches, it has to be demultiplexed. So this mux and demux, you already know it because we have discussed two methods. In two methods I have explained how exactly it is going to happen. So what are the things they have to use, all that. Okay, so if it is frequency division multiplexing at the demux, they used to use the filter, okay, to filter the signals with a specified frequency. Okay, so here it is not required, that process. So that process is not required. So each time we'll discuss further how exactly each device is going to demux or decode the signal once it is received at the receiver side. Mute yourself, somebody is unmuted. So in TDMA digital multiplexing technique for combining several low rate channel into one high rate. Okay, so the channels, if you have divided into number of channels, the capacity goes down. So if you are just combining all the channels that is having low rate and make it high rate one, and that can be used in case of TDMA. So there are two different types of TDMA I told. One is synchronous TDMA and another one is statistical TDMA. Okay, so now before going further, here I need to explain one or two problems. I will give assignment for you people. So I will solve one problem or two problems. So remaining you need to try by yourself. So now what I'll do, I'll just quickly run a video that shows very clearly what is the difference between synchronous TDMA and statistical TDMA. Can somebody tell, based on these words, can you tell what may be the difference? Don't read, just guess what may be the difference between these two based on the words. This is with respect to TDMA only. So how the data is transmitted, how time slot is given to each of the device to transmit the data. Based on that, these two methods differ. Any guess of these methods? Okay, if you don't know, no issues. I'll just play a video. Okay, or if you are using, if you want to transmit digital signal, you cannot simultaneously transmit multiple signals. It is not possible. So that's why in TDMA we are not going to share the channel. So the complete channel capacity is given to each of the device for a particular interval of time. So hopefully everybody understood what is the difference between synchronous and statistical TDMA. Okay. So we'll just discuss in detail and we'll try to solve some problems with respect to this. So in synchronous TDMA, the data flow of each input connection is divided into units. Okay. So input connection means whatever the before mux, whatever the data that comes, that is called as input. So each input, it is divided into units. Okay, so whatever the data that comes, it will be divided into units. Either unit indicates, it can be a bit, or it can be a character, or it can be one block of data. When I use the term block, it may be group of bytes. Okay, so a unit can be one bit, character, or block of data. So each input becomes one output unit. Okay, and occupies the time slot. So this is output unit. Okay, after multiplexing, whatever the data that is transmitted through the channel, or not channel, link. Okay, so the channel is different from link. Don't use of those words interchangeably. So the link, you have to use the term link in case of TDMA. Here we are not divided the link into channels. That is only in case of FDMA and WDM. And each device will be allocated with one particular time slot. Okay, so time slot is given for each of the device, and the time slot or the duration of this time slot should be equally, it should be equal interval of time for all the devices. Okay, so this is very important. Just look into the diagram. So the duration of output unit is n times shorter than the duration of input time slot. Okay, you can just observe here. So this is the data that is coming from, consider this is device A and this is B and this is C, three different users. And whatever the data unit that is represented with respect to devices, it is A1, A2, A3, and the interval of this particular A1 is T. Then this is also time interval. Equally, it is divided, the data is divided into equal time intervals. Okay, so here what is the point I told? The duration of output unit slot. So now what is output? Once the data comes on the link, okay, after mux, after applying the multiplexing, so whatever the data that comes, we call it as output. Okay, so output unit. So now if any input device, input time slot is t second. Okay, so this is for this particular unit, the time slot is t seconds. So now what is the time you need to give for the output unit? Okay, so how many devices? So three devices. So how many slots you need to make in each frame? So yeah, just grouping all these three device output into a frame. Okay, so consider this is my frame. So the first slot is given to A1 and second slot is given to B1, okay, and C1. So this is called as one unit, output unit. And what is the duration of each of these units? It is T by 3, okay, T by 3 seconds. So what is T? So that is the duration of the input unit. So here T by 3 indicates the duration of the one particular device output unit. So that is the duration taken by the particular device, T by n second, the output time slot. So this is called as the time slot for device A, and this is for B, and this is for C. And just grouping all these three, we call it as a frame. So where, what is n? What is n? T by n? N indicates number of connections. So how many connections you have? So here we have three connections. That means the slot, output time slot, if I have considered three device, then output time slot is going to be T by 3 seconds. Okay, T by 3 seconds. Okay, the same thing, you just understand this diagram properly. This is completely the time interval T, and each device is allocated with T by 3 time slot. Output time slot is T by 3. T by 4 means, when I'll get T by 4, so in case if there is one more device, D, okay, so then you have to divide this complete time interval T into 4 slot, and each slot is given to each of the device. Is that clear? Did you understood? because I'm going to solve one problem with respect to this diagram. You need to understand what is the time slot, input unit time slot T, and how to calculate output time slot. Okay, it purely depends on number of connections. The output time slot is always T by N, where N is the number of connections or number of device want to send the data. And also here the unit in the output connection has shorter duration, it travels faster. Okay, so device A, you can just see, so this is very short duration is given for device A. Okay, so whatever the data you're given with a short duration, obviously this data can be sent at faster rate. Instead of just sending all data of A, you're just taking a small portion of data from device A and it can be sent faster rate. Okay, so that is how the time slot is given in case of synchronous time division multiplexing. Okay, so here you need to understand like how you need to calculate the input time slot, output time slot, what is the duration, what is the bit rate, all those things. Okay, so for that I'm just taking few minutes of time to explain that. So in synchronous TDMA, okay, I'm talking about synchronous TDMA. So a round of data units from each input connection is collected into a frame. Okay, so what is frame? So from each of the device you are going to collect a data. Okay, so that is of data with the part A1, okay, and B and C. So that completely you are making this unit as a frame 1, then followed by frame 2, then followed by frame 3, like that it goes on. So here a frame is divided into n time slot. So how we'll come to know how many in a frame, how many slots you have to take? It depends on number of device want to send the data. Okay, so always remember n indicates how many number of connections you have with respect to the devices. Okay, so if you have 5 devices, then you need to divide the frame into 5 slot. 1, 2, but it should be equally intervalled. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so here I have not given equal interval of time. When you are drawing, you have to give it properly. Okay. Okay, so frame is divided into n time slot and one slot is allocated for each unit. Okay, so one time slot you are going to allocate for each of the device, the input unit. So one for each input line. So if the duration of input unit is t, then duration of each slot is t by n seconds and the duration of each frame is t. Okay, so the duration of time interval t is nothing but a frame. So now we'll just go with respect to data rate. So the data rate of output link must be n times. See, I know this. Listen carefully, because I'm going to solve one problem with respect to these things. That's why I'm just going very slowly. The data rate of output link must be n times the data rate of connection that guarantees the flow of data. Okay, so here I am talking about the output link. So here you should be very clear. Output link is this, whatever the link you can see, this is called as output link. After mux, once the data is sent through the link, no, so that is called as output link, and whatever the data that comes from each of the device, that we call it as input link. And obviously the data rate using output link, obviously it will be a faster rate. So in figure the data rate of link is 3 times data rate connection, data rate of the connection. So what is the data rate of this particular link is? So it is 3 times the input link. 3 times the input link. So in the figure above, we represent data period to multiplexing as 3 times the size of the data after multiplexing. Okay, so what exactly it tells? So here each unit is 3 times longer in duration before multiplexing than after. So this is before multiplexing. Okay, so this each frame, it is 3 times larger, whatever the data that is coming from the input link. Okay, so you just considering these points, let's solve one problem. Okay, so what is the problem tells? Listen carefully. So you need to understand the problem carefully. I will just try to solve this problem, and another one, or I think there are 2 more problems in the textbook. I will allow you to do that. So we'll start with the first one. What is the first problem tells? So here the data rate of each input link is 1 kbps. Okay. So that means if this is mux part, so whatever the input you are getting, okay, the input connection, what is the data rate of this input connection is 1 kbps. Okay, 1 kilobits per second. Next, if if one bit at a time is multiplexed, that means, so that is the unit, how much of data you are multiplexing each time. So it is 1 bit at a time. So your unit indicates 1 bit. So what is the duration you need to calculate? And this is dmux. Okay. So now what are the things you need to calculate? You need to calculate each input slot. Okay. What is the duration of each input slot? This is input slot. Okay. So I am not divided into slot set. So it is just representing the data rate. So each output slot. Okay. What is the duration of output slot? Okay. For each of the device and for each frame. So the same thing it is represented here. So here according to the data rate we are going to calculate. So each frame you need to calculate what is the data rate, and for each input device you need to calculate. Okay, so we'll just go with the first one. What is the duration of each input slot? Okay, so what is the duration of each input slot? So the data rate of each input connection is 1 kbps. It is clearly given in the problem. What is the data rate of each input link? It is 1 kbps. So this means that the bit duration is 1 by kilobits per second. Okay, so that is 1 by 10 power 3 kbps. Okay, so you will be getting 1 millisecond. So this is the each input slot. For each input slot, for each of the device, you are going to get 1 millisecond. Okay, consider this is device A, B, C and D. Okay, so the input slot, what I told you, so that is called as 1 millisecond. So next, is it clear everybody how I got this? By just knowing the data rate, you can calculate for each bit duration. What is the bit duration? Okay, here the unit indicates only 1 bit. So that's why 1 divided by the data rate. So data rate is 1 kbps. So you will be getting 1 millisecond for each input. This is the duration for each input slot. So this slot is 1 millisecond. So like this you will be having a number of slots for each of the device. Next, so what is the duration of each output slot? Okay, now I need to calculate. So once it is murked, okay, and form the frame, for each device what is the duration given? What is the duration of each output slot? This is output slot. If you know for each of the device what is the time interval given, you can calculate easily for the frame. So the duration of each output time slot is 1/3 of the input time slot. Okay, if I have consider only 3 device, okay, then you will be having 3 slots in a frame. So what is the duration here? It is given. So the input time slot here, it is 1 millisecond. That is nothing but t. Okay, so t divided by 3. T divided by 3. So what is t? 1 millisecond divided by 3. What is the answer you are going to get? Okay, 1 by 3 millisecond. So that is the output time slot for each of the device. So this slot is nothing but 1 by 3 millisecond. Okay, is it clear the second point? So how to calculate what is the duration of each output slot? So I know the duration of the input slot. Now itself I have calculated, it is 1 millisecond divided by 3. Okay, why 3? Here I am assuming there are 3 devices sending the data. When you divide 1 by 3, you will be getting whatever the time. So that is the duration of one output time slot. So now like this, if you want to calculate what is the duration for each frame. Okay, so here I have assumed 3 slots in a frame in that case. So each frame carries 3 output time slot. That's what I have written here. So this is completely a frame and each it is having 1 by 3 millisecond. So the duration of frame is 3 into 1 by 3 millisecond. Okay, it is nothing but 1 millisecond. Okay, this complete frame is going to take the duration of 1 millisecond. Is it understood, everyone? Any doubts in this problem? See, if you understand this diagram, so that shows very clearly, just only the values I have substituted. So what is here t? Okay, how I got t? Based on the data rate, that is 1 kbps. I have just converted into input time slot, the duration for input time slot. With the help of that, you can calculate what is the output time slot, and if you are combining the 3 slots of output unit, it forms a frame and you can calculate what is the total duration of that. So that is nothing but t. So you just go through once again. If you have any doubt, let me know. Okay, little bit like carefully you need to understand what is the input output. If you understand properly, you can easily understand this problem. Okay, so now you will, after the class you can just go through. If you have any doubt, in the next class I will discuss. Similarly, there is one more problem. Okay, I want to give this as an assignment, like a homework. You just try by yourself. Okay, only the data rate and all it is changed, and you need to calculate the same information. What is the input duration, output bit duration? Okay, what is the output frame rate? All this. Okay, just check it. If you have any doubt, we can discuss in the next class. There are some more terms with respect to FDMA. We'll just go with that. Okay. So here there is one concept called interleaving. Okay, so that is nothing but the process of taking group of bits from each input line for multiplexing. Okay, so this is called as interleaving. That's what I asked. Did you learn the context switch in your operating system subject or CPU scheduling? So why I asked is, it is going to interleave the execution of the task. So it is not going to allocate the complete one device to send the data. So once it is sent for some period of time, some time interval, it will stop the sending of data by that device. Okay, it will get an interleave and next device is allowed. Then next device is allowed. Okay, so if there are no more devices, then the same process repeats for device A, then B, then C. Okay, this process repeats. So this we call it as interleaving. The process of taking a group of bits from each input line for multiplexing. Okay, each group of bits from each input line. Okay, that is very important. If you are considering this demarks from each input line, it has to take a unit of data and that should be transmitted. Maybe in the video also it was shown very clearly. So A data will come first, then B, then C, then D, and repeats, and it forms one frame. Okay, so here interleave bits 1 minus n from each input onto one output. Okay, here n indicates number of connections. Okay, you can just observe interleaving, how it is interleaving is done. The same thing, I am just using this term, that's all. Whatever I explained with the previous diagram, same concept. So if this is a frame, and where is the interleaving? See, if device A is sending data at this time and the next data comes after this much of time. Okay, so this time gap we call it as interleaving. Okay, not exactly here, from here. And for B, this is the interleaving. And for C, this is interleaving time. Okay, so this is called as interleaving concept, and also it is you are going to achieve synchronization. That's why I use the term synchronous TDMA. This method we call it as synchronous TDMA. So where you are going to allocate time slot for all the device. Okay, so there is one more problem with respect to that. I want you people to just try by yourself. Okay, so data rate management. So not all the input link may have same data rate. Now we are just going to discuss with respect to data rate what happens. Okay, what happens if the input link, if it is not having data, particular input link, if it is not having data to send. Okay, in that case, what will be the effect of data rate? So not all the input link maybe have same data rate. So some link may be slower. There may be several different input link speed. So there are three strategies that can be used to overcome with the data rate mismatch. Okay. So whatever the devices it is connected to this main link, so the data that is coming as an input. Okay. So these links we cannot expect working at the same speed. Okay. So the speed of these links may vary. So in that case, there is a mismatch of this data rate management. So if B is having data and C is having data, if A is not yet received, what happens here? So what is the technique we need to use to overcome with this problem? Okay, for that there are three. So if there is a mismatch of C, whatever the problem even I have discussed here, just a minute. So where I have assumed that all links having same speed. Okay, so but practically we cannot expect all the link will be having same speed. Okay, so in such cases what is the solution? So here the solution is we can go for multi-level, multi-slot and plus stuffing. So what exactly each method tells, we'll just go in detail. So multi-level indicates used when data rate of input link are multiples of each other. Okay, so you can just combine the data of two links and send it as one unit. Okay, if you are expecting all the link of 1 kbps, okay, if any link if it is less than this, then you can combine two links data and make it as one time slot. So next one is multi-slot used when there is a GCD between the data rates. What exactly GCD or is it the greatest common divisor? Why it comes here? Let me just look into the diagram. Okay, so this is for multi-level uh, mismatching. Okay, in case if there is a data rate mismatch with respect to multi-level or the with respect to link. So how multi-level multiplexing can be done? You can just see. So you can just multiplex the two links that is having 40 kbps. Remaining all it is having 40 kbps. So you just multiplex this and the output whatever it is coming it is 40 kbps. Now this can be multiplexed with all other link. So this is called as multi-level multiplexing. In case if you have 10 kbps, then you have to do twice multiplexing, then you will be getting the 40 kbps. Okay, then what is multi-slot? Okay, so this is just reverse operation of multi-level multiplexing. Are you able to understand? So here all the links are of 25 kbps, but here there is one link with 50 kbps. Okay, so you're just dividing this into 25 kbps and 25 kbps, and that is given as an input to the mux. See, ultimately the mux, whatever the data that comes, so each link should have the same data rate. Okay, there should not be any mismatch in the data rate. That is a minimum requirement before multiplexing. And you can just see this is another concept, that is plus stuffing. So used when there is no GCD between the links, that is lowest speed link will be brought up to the speed of the other link by bit insertion. This is called as plus stuffing. You can just observe. So this link is, the speed of this link is little bit less compared to this. So in such cases you can add extra bits. Okay, so plus stuffing, you can just add extra bits to make it 50 kbps. You were not able to change the data rate of the link, but whatever the data is received, okay, you are just adding extra bits to make it 50 kbps. Okay, so some of these concepts are used for managing the data rate. So synchronization, is it time up? Okay, still 5 minutes, I'll just go. So framing bits, so how to achieve the synchronization? Okay, so to achieve the synchronization we can use this sum of the bit pattern, and that is added to the frame 1 0 1. Okay, so this is just to achieve the synchronization between the sender and a receiver. So this is when there is like a mismatch in the data rate link. There are some more problems with respect to TDMA. I want you people to go through that. So next topic is digital hierarchy. Maybe even I have explained in the FDMA. So how you can represent in the form of hierarchy. Okay, so that is your just first level of hierarchy where you are combining digital signal with a 24 input line. Okay, and multiplex states you are going to get one input signal that is represented as DS1, and like this, so along with this you are going to combine 1.44 Mbps link. Okay, of number of links is 24. You're just combining and you're going to get DS2. Okay, so this is like, it is not one level multiplexing, this is hierarchy of multiplexing. Okay, and you can just see the link each time the capacity of the link is increased. Okay, when you are multiplexing the output of this TDMA with a next level, so this should have high level capacity to transmit all the signals. So most of the time I think in the last class we have checked the question paper, so not much problems asked with respect to these things. I will just go through, if any important problems to be solved I will solve it in the next class. Okay, okay, so this I have already told. in case if the device not having data to send. So in case of synchronous, what happens? So that particular slot will be left without using. You can just observe this diagram. So this clearly shows the difference between a synchronous TDMA and statistical TDMA. Can you observe? So it is having only slot for line A, only one slot is given. For the next frame, if it is not having data, it is kept empty. Okay, so that time slot is not used. So that is a drawback of this synchronous TDMA. If the device is not having data to send, so the time slot is left unused. Okay, so if this is the case, the bandwidth is not utilized efficiently. So why we are discussing all these topics is to utilize the available bandwidth efficiently. But in case of statistical TDMA, you can just observe. So first time it is sending the data of line A. Okay, next time it is not there. Okay, it is not going to allocate. Whichever the device that is having data to send, it will allocate only to those devices. Okay, so in this case, a bandwidth used efficiently. Okay, it is utilized efficiently. So that finishes about this different types of multiplexing. So any queries, let me know. And I have left one or two problems. I want you people to just go through the textbook. Okay.